Good morning and welcome to this week's episode of the Last Night's Game podcast. I'm your host, Amy Butchon Siegfried, and I'm excited to talk about superstitions. I have them. You probably have them. You maybe not think about them as superstitions, but we all have them. And so here to talk about athlete superstitions and those of us who are fans that have superstitions is Scott. Scott, welcome to the podcast, my favorite co-host.
Thank you for having me on. I think probably fan superstitions are more important than the athletes that we watch and
It's
their
probably true.
superstitions. They have way more impact on the game than anything any of the athletes could possibly do.
It's true.
So I think it's important maybe we go through some of those and, you know, show how us fans doing certain things at certain points during games absolutely affects the outcome.
So do you have any superstitions like when you fly or you travel or like do you have any superstitions you do in your daily life or your fan life?
Before every podcast, I do 1,000 push-ups just to get the blood flowing, get the brain going, and then we jump on here.
I mean that makes sense why you've been looking so swole. We better
Yeah.
not take a break because you're just not going to know what to do with yourself. You'll never be able to open jars or
No,
flex your
but
pecs.
yeah, so that's just a kind of little thing we do to get warmed up for the
Yeah, that
podcast.
makes sense. Well,
How
mine are
about you?
not nearly I was like, mine is not nearly as good. When I travel, I always wear, I have a bracelet that when we were in Africa, they made with the tiny human's name on it. So I'll wear that. That's like my one little, I'm trying to think if I have any other like quirky superstitions that I do. I
On
don't
a
think
daily
so. I
basis, you don't like flip the switch 6 times every time you turn on a light or
know,
anything
or
like
wear the
that.
same socks. I did for a period of time. I had a lucky shirt that I would wear for surgeries.
Hmm.
And so I wore it when I had my ankle repaired. And I think I wore it when I went in to be induced for the tiny human. So I think like I had that shirt. I still have it. It's an ASU shirt. It's obviously stretched out because I put it over my giant pregnant belly. But like, I don't think I really have besides the wear that bracelet with me when I travel to take the
Hmm.
piece of the tiny human with me when he's not with me. But besides that, I don't think so.
And the shirt's 2 for 2 at least. That's good.
It's true.
It's
And
lucky.
I definitely had superstitions when I worked in sports.
Hmm.
Like,
Before
you would
every game.
have and I should say that, I'd still have as a fan, like, when I was watching the ASU, football game in the
Hmm.
playoffs last year, I would not get out of the seat that I was in because they were doing well, and I refused to get out of the seat.
And that kept them in the game.
It kept them in the game.
Yes,
They
it
didn't
did.
wid, but it kept them in the game. But I
Yes, and
did
if
not get out of my
had
seat.
you have moved, it could have been
It could
catastrophic.
have been and I used to do that, like, I would if I was doing laundry in one spot and folding
Mhm.
laundry while watching my team play, I wouldn't I wouldn't move. So, like, I would but if they were
That's
doing bad,
yeah.
I'd move somewhere else, and so, in all fairness, yes, I guess I do have some of those, but not on a daily basis.
Not
So,
on
I
a
don't
daily
like
ba more of a game basis, game by game
I
basis.
really should be doing 1,000 sit-ups before I do these, and I would probably, be able to wear my crop tops in the YouTube
You could
videos
show
now.
off you could show off your abs and your
My
crop top.
abs. That's right. So athletes, obviously, I think the whole reason of superstitions, right? The
Mhm,
whole like the idea of it is it feels like we have some sort of control in something that we can't control. And athletes are like obviously the pinnacle of superstitious. I think baseball players may be the worst, but some of the things you were telling me beforehand, I actually think hockey players might be worse. Like, what do you like?
baseball players are definitely up there with the weird things they do because they have so much time on their hands. You start to get in your own head. You've got to take your brain off whatever's
Makes
going
sense.
on, and it's so slow. But there's a lot of weird hockey stuff as well. A lot of games too. Like you're going through a lot of games throughout the season. You have to get your brain right. Some of the weird ones we were talking about. Alex Ovechkin. He's the leading scorer in NHL history, so obviously he's doing something well.
Right.
And his tradition is kind of an interesting one. You wouldn't think an elite athlete would be eating chicken parmesan before every home game to really get the body fired up, but that's what he does, and obviously it's doing pretty well. He's done it from the same restaurant since he's been with Washington his whole career.
Do you think the team is like keeping the restaurant afloat? They're like, you can't close. How
I'm
much
sure.
money do you need?
Yeah, he can't afford to have that close. So Mama the CEOs in Washington DC is obviously doing pretty well.
We need to go.
We
Next
need
time
to
we go to
go
DC, let's
get
do
some
it.
nice thick chicken parmesan and then go try to skate around for an hour
It would make
and
great
score
that
goals.
sounds awful, in all
Yep.
fairness. That sounds like, carb loading with the noodles maybe, but,
Mhm.
like, a giant piece of fried chicken sitting in my stomach, just I'm also not an athlete. Let's put that out there
Mhm.
right up front.
Yeah.
I'm not an athlete, but I that's not something I typically do before I go to the gym.
No, no, it would not necessarily be a great thing to do before cardio, nor getting hit in the face by a puck or a fist.
No.
And yeah, some nice it's a four sauce mix, which is even better.
Oh,
So Alfredo, meat sauce, tomato, and mushroom marsala. So
I
that's
have
just
I have heartburn thinking
yes,
about it.
yes. So if you can digest that, you can score the most goals in NHL history.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I would say I have nothing like that. I think I have gone to the gym after happy hour, and I don't recommend that. That is a little challenging on the treadmill. I have done that, but, like, that's not, like, a for pinnacle athletic success in my mind.
Not necessarily, no.
No.
Although we'll tangent off that real quick, we can go back to hockey. But there's recently a lot of NFL players have revealed that they may or may not have. They were taking shots before games at halftime just to loosen up the body a little bit, get ready to get hit. So yeah, we had Marshawn Lynch famously reveal he would take a shot of Hennessy before games.
Okay.
That'll loosen you up. Not
That'll
gonna feel
that'll do
much.
it. But Marshawn
Yeah.
Lynch also is known for eating a lot of Skittles, so
So maybe
there's, like,
they
once
counteract each
again,
other.
pinnacle of pinnacle
Yes.
of peak performance. There's no chance Tom Brady's doing either of those.
He was not. No, he was
No,
not. But he also wasn't getting hit as much as someone like Marshawn Lynch was.
probably true.
So and there's a lot of other players that have admitted to doing this previously. So I don't know. It works for some pretty good players. So maybe you have to incorporate that. You said you've been to the gym.
Yeah, I mean, the same, but remember, I mean, like, we've done the stuff on the Tour de France where they banned alcohol. They used to drink alcohol on
Yeah.
the tour, but they banned it because it's a stimulant. So, I mean, I guess maybe it's not enough to make it, like, illegal, like, right, a shot of Hennessy is not gonna
Yeah.
it's gonna make or break Marshawn Lynch, and it just becomes a tradition at
And
this
then yes.
point. And if he doesn't do it, it probably becomes a mental lapse because
Yes.
it's the, what's the word I'm looking for? Placebo effect, right?
Yes.
If he doesn't do it and he did it once, it worked really well, he's gotta keep it up.
And that's what you'll find. Like a lot of these, they do it once and they're stuck
They
doing
like,
whatever they've done, and they probably don't. I'm sure it becomes more of a burden sometimes than anything.
"Oh, I bet." Well, was it Sidney Crosby, who's
Mhm.
another hockey player?
Yes.
Like, he wouldn't call his mom or see his mom or his sister
Hmm.
before games because a few times he did it allegedly, like, it ended with an injury. So maybe it was
Yes.
one with each of them and he got injured in both games. But then again, if you saw your mom and your sister before every game, like, the chances of you getting injured is,
Hi.
like,
Yeah.
it's gonna all work itself out at some point. So, it's just interesting.
And yeah, obviously they understand that if that's what it takes for him to be good, then they have to do that.
You gotta do it.
And he's also, I don't know if he has a sponsorship for this, but he always traces the McDonald's on the ice
Oh, really?
with the puck before the game too. I don't know if there's an origin with a sponsorship, but in pregame warmups, he does the on the
Like, did he
ice
take
with the
the puck
puck,
or he does it with, like, the stick?
with the puck and with the stick. Yes,
Interesting.
to warm up. So he must have some kind of deal. They were not. It has not been specified yet.
That's interesting. If
So
not McDonald's, what do you I guess they don't have to. Like, what are you doing with
they don't
this?
have
Maybe
to.
they
Yeah,
send the
it's
free
already free endorsement there.
they send the opponents some pregame meals,
Maybe
McDonald's, so they don't play as well, maybe.
some Big Macs
Yep.
or the what is it? The fish fillet.
Yep, there you go, filet fish. I mean, it works for it works for the pescatarians in the room. Like,
Yes. Also doesn't work with stomachs, I don't think.
no, but he has doesn't Crosby have a couple other weird ones?
Let's see. I think there may be tapes his stick is same a certain way every game. These are kind of exhausting, to be honest with
Yeah.
you.
Was he also the same one who wore the same jockstrap for a while too, I think?
Yes, event. Yeah, I don't. Not sure how long that lasted, but I'm sure it was very gross.
But also, like, as a parent of a
Mhm.
boy, you have to wash that every single day, and I'm gonna be really pissed off if I have to wash all your uniform, your hockey gear every single night so you can feel lucky. I'll be like, "You know what? I bet mom switched that jockstrap out and he didn't even have any idea."
Just put a little dirt on it, sweat.
She had 6 of them.
Yeah,
She just, like, pulled them out of the hidden spot because that's what moms do.
feel bad for moms and equipment guys that have to deal with some of these traditions. That how bad they smell.
Ugh, I can't imagine. Speaking of, um, my favorite tradition, we've talked about this one on the
Hmm.
podcast before. We hadn't talked about some other ones. Jason Giambi and his gold thong. So Jason Giambi he played for what, the Athletics,
And the Yankees as well,
the Yankees. So he was what, a 2000s player?
give or take. Yeah, that
Yeah.
era. Yes,
But he was like he looked like a football player. Like,
yes.
right? He was really I mean, it was like a big guy. And he had a gold thong he wore when he got into a hitting slump. And I don't know the origins of the gold thong, and I'm not sure I want to know the origins of the gold thong, but he also let his teammates borrow it when they were going through hitting slumps.
Yeah, the slump buster may be the weirdest superstition in all of sports. You
Mhm.
know, you can't hit, nothing's working, you're doing whatever you can, you're putting on gold thongs,
I
you're, I
mean,
don't know, you're eating random things till something changes, then you feel obligated to do it,
then
and
it
then you're
works, and it's that but once again, it's that mental placebo effect. We had
mhm,
guys when I worked in baseball who would always drive the same way to the ballpark,
mhm,
and if they drove a different way, there was maybe that one time that they drove a different way and they didn't hit well, so they
mhm.
would drive the same way to the ballpark every single day, leave at the same time, like, the whole routine in which you now if there's road construction, they're screwed.
Yeah,
But also, like, you understand now why if, teams are used to having 7 o'clock games and all of a sudden you throw a 5 o'clock game in, it throws everybody's routine off.
yeah, and that's most of the mental thing. Sometimes
Mhm.
these different start times, you play a random Wednesday at 1, and you usually play at 7, then you have to move everything up, and
Yeah.
you're eating chicken
3 o'clock snack,
parmesan
your chicken isn't
at
ready, like, with the 4 sauces for breakfast with your coffee.
yeah. Oh, I have a really great one from last year.
Please.
The Twins weren't playing well, and, they came upon a random summer sausage.
Oh, yes, I
Last year,
remember this.
the summer sausage just might be the best slump buster of all time, and they had it, and they just kept it around. They kept winning. They went on a ridiculous winning streak, and the slump buster or the superstition was just a summer sausage, and it just got to be so gross.
Because it went everywhere, like, did it, like, sit in the dugout, I feel like?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was thrown on the field. It was quite gross by the end, but it worked, so why not get a little summer sausage?
I mean, wasn't it like didn't the Mets have one with Grimace from McDonald's? Like,
Yeah.
Grimace went to games.
I think Grimace threw out the first pitch, and then they went on a ridiculous winning streak. So clearly, Grimace was, the missing link
But I
to
mean
the winning
yeah.
streak.
Well, I think
But then
isn't
you just
that
start
kind
to
of
believe in random things, and the
right.
power of the mind takes over.
Yeah, the pow I mean, but I think there was a book, I remember this when you were playing baseball, it was like, baseball is essentially like 90% mental, 10%
Yeah,
talent, and that mental fortitude, but it's so interesting on how that becomes a it becomes what you make it.
yeah,
I mean, LeBron and his chalk, I mean, we could go on, but I wanna kinda talk a little bit about the fan base because there are some fan bases that have some real strange but strange to us as not the fan base, but strange traditions, and, we can talk about the reason behind these traditions, right? But it's probably generational. It's whatever you might do to be indoctrinated as a fan of this team. It's a way to really call out and find true fans. The notable one that I can think of that just kind of cracks me up every single time is the Buffalo Bills, the football team in Buffalo.
mhm,
Their fans like to jump through tables like they're on a WWE
mhm.
SmackDown situation.
I mean, it's a wonderful tradition.
It is.
It's a costly one and possibly a physically damaging one, but yeah, they
Mhm.
like to jump off cars, anything they can through folding tables before games. Just to really give their team that, inspiration they need to go play
That
football.
edge. Yeah.
Yes, and then no matter if it's 85 degrees or -4 and it's snowing and there's a blizzard, you be sure they're going through that table to get their team to the next level.
Well, I mean, that's something to think about when you go to a
Mhm.
new sporting team, and I've learned this, and you probably learned this too from moving, there's certain things that happen in different cities that don't
Yeah.
happen in your original city, but it's like one of those that's something worth Googling, looking up ahead of time, maybe some traditions, so maybe it's like on Tuesdays we wear red or
Mhm.
whatever it might be that you kind of can be able to fit in that mold or have a conversation to be able to talk about, like, "I wore pink today because I don't own any red, I know it's Tuesday red day," but it's like looking those kinds of things up. So what else can we might look for as a fan base?
That's actually a very good point. And then if your superstition works with your pink, then you wear it every week, and then mentally it works for you even though you might be off a little bit.
Yeah. My
It's
shirt used to be white, now it's I washed it with red and now it's pink, so here we go.
yeah, well, I think one of the great superstitions we saw actually NBA season was the Oklahoma City Thunder fan base. Everyone wears the team issued promotional shirt, right? And you look at the crowd, everyone's wearing it.
You
It's
look
not the same
really
shirt every time, but they will wear it every game because that's what's working for them. And no one's putting on their own fashion show that shows, they're part of the team and they're
although,
doing
and I'll be honest, when I went to the game, they were
yeah.
playing the Hornets and they did not have T-shirts.
Well,
So there's that.
that's a much different competition
That's
level
not
than
playoff
the
vibe.
yes.
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
far below playoff level. But when
Yeah.
it counts, you go on that streak, and
It
that's what you're
worked.
fan. It worked, right?
It worked.
One of the
Yeah,
best
I
seasons in
mean,
NBA history.
do any of the teams that you follow have, I mean, I guess obviously the Raiders, like people dress like members of Kiss.
Yeah, they dress up in skeletons, pirate outfits. That's their tradition. The guy with the spikes on his shoulders, like that's their tradition every week. Obviously hasn't necessarily resulted in wins, but they believe that's what they do, and that's ingrained in them. The Raiders might be some of the fan traditions of all time. No offense to the Black
Well,
Hole.
it's a commitment. Like that's a commitment to like get dressed up in that full
Yeah.
outfit in 115 degrees when
Hmm.
football season starts. That's a commitment.
Yeah, absolutely. And it works for them though.
I mean, whatever works. I'm trying to think of any teams that we support if there's any interesting, I mean, there's traditions, right? Like when you go to a Notre Dame game, and I've never done some of these where it's
Hmm.
like, they do the walkthrough on campus and the band, and they do some of this, a lot of colleges do like a midnight something or other
Yeah.
and different things. And so like you have those traditions, but I'm trying to think if there are any other like notable ones that as a fan that you would wear or do. I'm sure there's Texas, they always wear cowgirl boots and that kind of stuff, but that's more of an attire thing.
Yeah.
And also a way to sneak in your mini bottles into the stadium.
True. True. I'm thinking like pregame with the Golden Knights is those are traditions, not necessarily by
True.
fans, but the traditions they have of where chants the Gila Monster mascot walks up the corridor past all the bars with the marching band and the
That's right.
cheerleaders and the Vegas showgirls before every game, and that's obviously a tradition only a team like Vegas would have.
Right. And
The
people
showgirls
don't
and the
dress like
band,
Elvis
yeah,
in most
they do
arenas.
not.
So
No, and then obviously the pregame show, if you will, with the
mhm,
battles and things like that. So those traditions, and then with wins, they throw the pink flamingos on the ice.
that's
So you'll
right.
see that at Golden Knights games after wins, or like the Florida Panthers, they throw rats on the ice after
I was just gonna
wins.
say that, yeah.
So everyone has their own little thing. It's all weird. It makes no sense to other fan bases, but it makes sense to you.
Well, I
Yes.
mean, you look at some of the things like we look at, I mean, college football, we've done a whole podcast on
There's
just
so many
college football
weird,
traditions.
yes, so many
But I
weird ones.
mean, is it Auburn where they toilet paper the trees,
Their own trees, yes.
their own trees?
After big
And
wins.
after, so it's like there's all these things, like you said, traditions and superstitions
Hmm.
don't make sense, but they
Makes
placebo
sense to
effect,
you.
whatever it is, they
Yes.
work.
Yeah. And even like what is it, taking naps before games? There's athletes that have to sleep before games.
Isn't that Tom Brady likes to take naps
That was
before games,
Tom,
isn't it?
yeah. Yeah. Even if Super Bowl, he almost missed the start of the game.
Because he
A
was so
lot of
relaxed.
yeah, a lot of hockey players do that
I
before
would love to.
games. Yeah.
Could I take a nap before instead of doing 1,000 push-ups before? Can I just take a nap
If you
before?
call it a superstition, then it's not necessarily a nap. It's for the success of the podcast and yourself.
This is a
So
true
it's not a
statement.
nap. It's more of a benefit.
A power move. This is a
Yes.
power move. Yeah.
Yes.
You've heard it here first. Naps now.
Superstitious
Except my
every
office
day.
is in the front of our house, and I'm sure someone would drive by and be like, "There's a dead woman on that desk taking a nap."
Just put superstition on the window.
Yeah, I feel like we need the Stevie Wonder song.
Let's play that on blast. Yeah.
I'm intrigued, and I don't know if you have any friends like this, but I'm so intrigued. Was there like a lucky food, and like should we build our own superstition? Like when we go to the airport, like should you always get Starbucks coffee, or I love peanut M&Ms. Like, do you get peanut M&Ms everywhere you go? Like, should we build a tradition?
You have
Like
to
when you go,
start
like,
one, but then you have to find one that you can find everywhere. Because if you don't have a Starbucks in that airport, and then you have to fly, then you probably have a panic attack before you get on the plane
that's a
because
hundred
you don't
percent
have
true.
your frappuccino. So
Yeah,
you
that's
got to
true.
do something like gum, maybe gum mint. Does
Well, you
everyone
can't
have
find mints.
peanut?
You can't find gum in Singapore, so you can't do that unless you bring it
You
with you.
can't have peanut M&Ms on a plane probably anymore, so you can't
Oh
have
yeah, you
those.
can. Yeah,
You
you can.
can?
Oh yeah.
Okay, maybe pretzels.
Yeah, but sometimes I have heard them make announcements that like someone has a severe peanut allergy on this plane. Please don't eat stuff with peanuts in it.
Okay.
There's people on that plane who are like middle finger to that. I'm going to do it
Yeah,
anyways because I'm American and that's what we do. But yeah,
I'll
so
have to think about that.
we'll work
Maybe
on this.
you pee on your hands before you fly.
I'm not a baseball catcher. I'm not. Was it Moises Alou who used to pee on his?
Yes.
Yes,
Some other athletes as well used to pee on their hands for not just to make them
toughness
tough and superstition. Yeah.
because they probably accidentally peed on their hands one day and it
And they
worked.
went 4 for 4 and like hit four
Here we
home
are,
runs, and now we're peeing on our hands every day, and we smell like pee, but we're hitting the ball well.
but we're winning. It's totally fine.
Yes, so it's perfectly great.
So notable, stinky, smelly, strange superstitions. Thanks
Yes.
for sharing all of those with me and with all the rest of us. And thank you all for joining us. Hopefully, you have something else great to talk about at your happy hour or at your poolside excursion over the summer. So, thanks for sharing it with us, Scott.
Thank you.